Hi there, everybody. Cindy Hartzell with Hartzell Confidence-Based Horsemanship. And today I am interviewing a friend of mine, Vonie Kalich, who is a personal growth and equine Gestalt coach. And we are going to learn about what she does and how she can help us with our personal growth. Hey, Vonie, how you doing?
Hi, Cindy, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
I sure can. First of all, though, I want to say thank you for doing this because I know this is going to be fun. So, Vonie Kalich, I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I, excuse me, was a fitness professional for 30 plus years. Personal training, ran group exercise programs, managed health clubs, managed a college fitness center, and taught PE for a community college for about 8 years. And then in 2014, I entered the Equine Gestalt coaching program. And in 2016, graduated from that. And then I decided I'd take another coach training program. And then after a while, I'm thinking to myself, why am I not utilizing all my skills as a fitness professional who spent all these years dedicating my time helping women with their health and wellness? So I created a women's program that helps women do just that, work with their health and wellness.
Awesome. So, when you say health and wellness, is that nutritional? Is that weight management? Is that physical fitness?
Mhm.
Is that say I'm struggling in my career and I'm not happy. So when I come home, I sit down and I eat kind of as a way of numbing out, you know? Or say I am having problems in my personal life. When you say, wellness, is that all encompassing or do you focus on just a few of those?
Well, it depends on what the client brings to me. So I have a women's program that's called One Size Fits None, and that one's basically around the idea of health and wellness in the weight loss realm. However, it's more than that because the women that have entered into that program have walked away with more than just weight loss. They now have this idea that they're worthy of themselves. There's less or no self-doubt in who they are, and they're better able to manage situations in their life and the food that they were eating. So they walk away with some nutrition, they walk away with fitness tips, they resolve unlimiting beliefs that are holding them back, whether that's through food or other things in their life. So they gain a whole lot of perspective and get a lot of support in that program for a lot of different avenues of their life around health and wellness. And then the personal growth part is all in the One Size Fits None, but I also do that with phone coaching and through my equine gestalt coaching practice as well.
So the one size fits none, you say it's a program. Is that a program that I would have to be in Vancouver to participate in? I mean, how does one participate in something like that?
That's an online program. It's 12 weeks long. And the clients that enter into that program have a private Facebook page, and then we have 10 Zoom calls together as a group. And then everybody gets two individual coaching sessions as well in the beginning, at the end. And then if there's a need for it, something in the middle. And then they always have the option of doing other private coaching as well with me.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. So I've heard you say, I've heard you say from time to time, and I've seen in your post, the saying of step off the scale. So
Yeah.
for me, that's intriguing because I right now I'm at a very healthy weight, but I haven't always been. Um,
Okay.
and I know that that scale, oof, it can be, not only can it be discouraging and encouraging, but it can almost become addictive.
Yes, it
And
can.
so,
So when I say step off the scale, what I'm hoping and looking to achieve with the people that are in my program is that they are not relying on the scale to be their truth. Because if you are somebody that is lifting weights and you're active, you're going to weigh more because you've got muscle mass on your body. So if, for example, let's say that you weigh 130 pounds and you are only, say, 20% body fat, then you're going to have more muscle on yourself than somebody that weighs 20 pounds but has 30% body fat, because there is such a thing as skinny fat. It's a person who is very thin but has no muscle tone. And so just because you step on that scale and it says you weigh 130 pounds or even 150 pounds or 160 pounds, you might have a lot of muscle mass. So the scale can be an indicator of not only our weight, but our truth, if that makes sense.
mhm.
So I want women to get clear that the scale is not the be all end all of what their health is about.
Right. It's not the magic number
No,
that you're
it,
after.
yeah. So somebody tells me I want to lose 30 pounds and they weigh 160 and they want to weigh 130. If they are up for the task of not only eating nutritiously, but getting into the gym and lifting weights, which helps build strength and creates bone density, then they are going to weigh more. So they might weigh 140 pounds, but feel and look and wear the size of clothing that somebody who's 130 pounds would.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. So muscle weighs more than fat does. And it's like putting logs on a fire. So if we add a whole bunch of logs to the fire, we are fueling that fire. So if we put muscle mass on, we're fueling the fire for our metabolism to work more for us. And we can weigh more, but still look like we're leaner than somebody would that's 140 with carrying the excess fat. That was
So,
a complicated answer to your question, I
no,
think.
that's awesome. That's super informative, because what I'm taking away from it is, society has given us these ideal body images.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm hearing from you is it's not so much about a number on the scale, or
Mhm.
even so much how you think you should look in the mirror based on what you see on commercials and in society. It's
Yes.
more about how you feel,
Mhm.
and what you can achieve, your energy level. And when I say feel, it's not just, oh, I feel good, but it's like you have the stamina and you have the energy and you can think clearly. And it's it's the whole well-being, is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing you say.
exactly. So when somebody starts to eat nutritiously and they're exercising, whatever form of that exercise is that they enjoy, you don't have to go to a gym to get a good workout, and there, or to build strength even. So, but what you said about feeling good, there's stamina, mental clarity, that fog lifts, sleeping better, clothes fit better. If your clothes are tight and you build this health and wellness for yourself, then oftentimes weight loss does follow. And then you have more endurance, you have more strength, and all the other things that we've already discussed. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of benefit to living a healthy lifestyle.
And that's where you also, when you were describing what you do, you were talking about the belief system.
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
that's where I think I find your program intriguing and more appealing,
Mhm.
because you are working on those belief systems that we may not even know that we have. For example, my my mom has always been, all of my life, struggled with her weight. She was always very, very heavy. And we were always taught that we had to empty everything on our plate.
Yeah, the empty plate club.
Right.
Mhm.
And I was pudgy before I went through puberty. And
Okay.
so I have all my life struggled with body image, self body image.
Mhm.
And my sister has as well. And so
Okay.
I think a lot of, no matter how much I've tried to watch what I eat and exercise, and it's always been this thing in the back of my mind that I have to be careful so that I don't end up really overweight.
Mhm.
And I can't clean my plate because then I'm going to get overweight. So all of that is belief systems that were indoctrinated at a young age that I've never questioned. And so
Yeah.
your program not only helps me to learn how to eat healthy and how to plan my meals and how to exercise and a new way of looking at my body, but you're
Mhm.
also going to dig into what is it, what is that hidden belief system
Yeah.
that I'm operating unconsciously from. Is that correct?
It is correct. There's most of the women, the 99% of them, I would say, that I have worked with have some just enormous limiting beliefs, some of them. One in particular, her mom was taking her to Weight Watchers with her when she was 10 years old. And so she was taught at that age that, women are overweight and we all have to diet. And she spent her youth and her adult years constantly dieting and fighting that battle. And then there's the other side of the spectrum, like yourself, where I can't go that way. I can't eat too much. I can't do this. I can't do that. There's the other side of it. And so it sets up another dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but the majority of the people that I've worked with so far, there's self-doubt, there's why bother? I've been overweight my entire life, so why bother? And then the ones that I've worked with that have gained what I call the pandemic pudge, they're struggling with, oh my gosh, it became so easy to just be kind of lackadaisical about my workouts, or Netflix became my new friend. And how do I get myself back out of that habit? So they had good habits and then they created bad habits, or not bad habits, just but habits that weren't beneficial anymore. And then how do I change and reverse that all around? Because this has now become ingrained and it's kind of nice to not go work out and I'm kind of enjoying those potato chips or whatever that is, and reclaiming their what I call inner warrior. So all of us women, men too, we have this inner warrior, this desire to be more than what we think we are or who we are, and finding our truth to step out of those limiting beliefs and unleash that inner warrior and then find happiness. I mean, true happiness from the inside. So that when you stand on that scale, that you're not looking at the number, you're looking in the mirror and going, wow, I really love that person that's standing there in front of me. No matter whether you're 60, you're 80, you're 30, and just, it doesn't matter what you look like. It's how do you feel inside? And what I have found is when people find that healing from inside, they transform through the outside as well. And they start to bring to themselves the things that they've been saying, like, I want to lose weight. I want to be a size 10 again. Or a woman I talked to recently, she's like, when I told myself that I was never going to hit the double digits. She was a size 8, didn't want to hit the double digits. She got to 10, then she got to 14, and she's like, how the heck am I going to get back down to an 8? So I have some very interesting conversations with some of the people that I have met. So,
You can really literally get off the scale
mhm,
and just judge your success, or gauge, don't judge, gauge your success by how you're feeling, how you're
mhm,
looking in the mirror,
yep,
um, and how you're not only physically feeling, but how are you emotionally feeling? How are you mentally feeling? Because as you take your program, it sounds like you evolve organically into all of that. When I say organically, that doesn't mean magically or simple, easy.
Nope.
You know,
Hard
there's
work.
a simple formula, but it's not easy.
No.
Um, but you get into you interrupt the pattern, and in horsemanship I refer to it as interrupting the pattern. Stop
Mhm.
what's always happening and start a new pattern. So that's what you're helping people do, is get off the couch from pandemic fear and slow down and create a new pattern.
Exactly. You know, with the program, there is a lot of homework. It's like you said, it's not an easy process, and some of the ladies feel a sense of overwhelm. That overwhelm is a different kind of overwhelm when they look in the mirror and they go, God, am I ever going to lose this weight? How am I ever going to figure out how to cook for myself or to create meals that are going to be healthy? And how do I run around with my kids all day long and still eat something good besides driving through the McDonald's drive-through? So there's a lot of tools that are provided, going through values and their typology so that they can understand themselves better and the other people around them in their lives and how they show up in the world. How do they want to show up in the world versus how they have been showing up? And then working on those unlimiting beliefs or limiting beliefs, and then finding out how much sugar is actually in the food that they consume and how much fat and how much salt, and these are some guides on how you can eat more nutritiously. And then here's some guides on exercising. I don't provide exercise plans or meal plans in a program unless I have somebody who really feels like that's something that they need to have. So far, most of the people that I've worked with they've had a routine once upon a time in their lives. They've had a gym membership. Some of them have not, and they need a little bit more of a nudge in that direction, and I'm happy to provide that. But there's a lot that they get: private Facebook group and accountability partner. So it's a fun program. In the end, everybody's having a good time, and they're really realizing that all that hard work really paid off.
So you also offer equine gestalt
Mhm.
coaching, which means you are involved with horses.
Yes, I
And
am.
I have a lot of clients now that we're getting back into being able to socialize and get out and do more things. I'm getting back in the routine, and my clients are getting back into the routine to taking lessons and clinics and things like that. And several of them are noticing that their riding breeches don't fit like they used to. Their, riding jeans don't fit like they used to. It's a little bit harder to get back up into the saddle, and their horse is kind of looking at them like, whoa, you're not the same person you used to be. So do you help equestrians to get back into a fitness program? And would they still fit into that one size fits none program? Or tell me a little bit about how you would help my equestrian clients.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, and I can relate because myself, in 2019, I dealt with cancer that was localized to my tibial plateau. So that was my knee, which severely limited my ability to work out. And then going through the treatment process, that even further limited because I was very sick through the process. And then I was just starting to get things rolling again when the pandemic hit. And I myself gained about 5 pounds, COVID 5, but I gained COVID or cancer 5 too. So I had 10 pounds I needed to deal with. And I'm like, how am I going to get rid of this? My knee still hurts. That's all getting better. And I too, it's like, how do you get on your horse when you go to mount from the ground and your right leg the knee is not flexible enough, so I can't get that little bit of a hop and then just ride over, because I had a year where I couldn't ride. And the pants were a little tight. And so I can really relate to all of that. Flexibility wise, my knee was stiff. And so over time, I have created a pattern for myself, workout patterns for myself, to get my knee to a place where it's flexible again, and that I have the ability to get on my horse without a mounting block. I had a friend ask me recently, she goes, "Why do you always mount your horse from the ground?" And I said, "I don't. I use the mounting block, but at least once a week, I mount my horse from the ground so that I can keep that ability." Now, I realize there are some people that just is not going to happen for them based on where they're at with their mobility. But if we can, to answer your other question, yes, equestrians are more than welcome to come into my program. So it's not just for people that don't ride horses, that's for sure. So with the equestrian person that's in my program, I would offer them some experiences that I've had and give them some opportunities to look at some of the exercises that I had created for myself to help me in that realm, flexibility wise and strength wise. And yeah, that's it.
I know that as we women get older and we put on that menopausal weight, when our hormones stop pumping out that estrogen that helps us, keep our weight where we want it. I've noticed with myself and my clients that it also affects when I was heavier, it affected my balance in the saddle.
Yeah.
And so if I was an equestrian taking your program, do you have anything that helps them to focus on their balance? Like I know
Yes.
you said you don't give exercise things in your program, but is that something that you can help the equestrian focus on? Because I know that there's women and we're all women. But then there's the equestrian woman who we use our body differently.
Yes.
And balance is huge. And when we have gained those extra pounds, there's a good chance, whether it's been poor eating, whether it's been emotional eating, pandemic, menopause, all of the above. If we've gained weight, there's probably a pretty good chance we have stopped paying attention to our physical health, our physical fitness, which then affects our balance and our coordination.
Yes, very much so. So yes, I can address and will address that for the equestrian who is in my program. Myself, after having my knee knocked out from underneath me for as long as I have been working on regaining my balance now that I can actually stand on that foot and not have my knee feel like it's going to go sideways. So for the longest time, it was wobble, 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 because I limped for a very long time. As I'm gaining strength, as I'm gaining balance and flexibility, I can now stand on my right leg and put my left leg in my pants again. So it's a process. So anybody that has balance issues, flexibility issues, or strength issues, those are all things that and endurance, those are all things that we will address for the equestrian rider, as well as anybody else, because there are other, most of us as we get older, we have to deal with balance issues anyway. For the rider, I would also be helping them figure out how to maintain their balance when they're in the saddle.
Nice.
So with a lot of core strengthening. So because I taught Pilates for 15 years too, I was a certified stop Pilates instructor. So,
nice.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I went through my menopausal change, I gained 40 pounds and I ride tall horses.
Okay.
And I had to start using the fence or a mounting block to get on. And then in 2017, I got really bad food poisoning, which changed my taste buds. And
Okay.
I was able to just drop that extra weight. It was amazing how easy it was. But so then all of a sudden I could start mounting my 15-3, horse from the ground, and went, oh, it was the weight that was keeping me from getting my foot up in the stirrup from the ground, which I didn't know. But even though I had lost all the weight, I noticed that I don't have the strength that I once had. And really where I'm noticing it is in my upper body. My legs seem to be stronger than my upper body. And so is that something, I think women, as we're getting older, middle-aged and up, we are losing our muscle tone.
Yeah.
And is that something that your program can help? I like Pilates. I use a Pilates chair, but say I don't have those equipment, or I can't get to the gym, or I can't afford your program and the gym at the same time. Is there something that, if I was able to have you create a workout program for me, is there something that you could focus on that's going to make it easier to put that saddle on my horse and do all those things?
Most definitely. As a matter of fact, I have a YouTube channel that has a bunch of Pilates videos on it. So
Oh,
that is something that my program participants and private clients can access, is that YouTube channel. So there's videos on there, and a lot of these videos were created when I barely had any hair after I recovered from my cancer treatment, from a cancer treatment, not my cancer treatment. Let me clarify that. And so there's a video on, this is how you do squats. Here's the modifications for it if you've got knee issues. Here's how you do lunges. Here's the modifications, making it harder or easier. Here's how to do planks. That video. There's planks on push-ups, planks on abdominal exercises, videos on back exercise. So there's a whole series of videos for just the basic exercise program, or basic exercise. And then I have all the Pilates videos as well. And as my body has been recovering, which I am now at a place where I can actually do squats and lunges again without hanging on to something, I have started the process of getting ready to create more videos to add to that YouTube channel. Yeah.
So now those are YouTube videos that you can only access if you're a member of your program.
Actually, they're available right now. You don't. Some of them are private, and then some of them are just there on my YouTube channel. So
what is your YouTube channel for anybody watching this that wants to start doing something and get a feel for who you are as a coach and a teacher?
Well, if you just look for Vonie Kalich, and you'll find me that way.
Perfect. And so, because you are a cancer survivor, and congratulations,
Thank you.
You have the personal experience of knowing what it's like to be coming back or just starting. So there's a lot of women out there who are cancer survivors or injury survivors. In my equestrian world, there's some of us who have had injuries. I teach my Finding Our Way Back After Trauma, and a lot of the women who participate in that are actually coming back physically as well. So being able to watch your videos or participate in your program, you don't have to necessarily have weight that you're trying to lose. You're just trying to get fit again. And because you know what it's like to be there and then to not be there and work your way back, you are walking the talk.
I am. I remember being a young fitness instructor who had a 2-year-old, and I was just learning how to teach aerobic classes. And, I'd been going to aerobics for a long time, and I was gung-ho. And, I even at the age of 50, I could put a 20-something-year-old into the ground. I taught cardio kickboxing and a million other different yoga, Pilates, all kinds of classes. I was a long distance runner. And that all came to a stop in September of 2018 when my knee injury happened, and which then turned out to be cancer. And so I understand the frustration of going into the gym and looking at that equipment going, oh my God, where do I start? Because this still hurts and that still hurts. Or, and I don't want to tear up, laying on a mat and thinking to myself, am I ever going to be able to flex my knee so that I can get my butt back against my feet again? That's taken a long time and I'm still working on it. Radiation took its toll on my knee, right? So extension and flexion of the knee is challenging for certain things. And so I understand that. And also, all the years I taught Pilates, my mother asked me once, she goes, why didn't you become a physical therapist? And I went, too many years of school, too much money to go to college. And besides, I want to work with a healthy population. Well, as a Pilates instructor, I ended up specializing in the clients that weren't the athletes. I specialized in clients who had a lot of either diseases in life and or they had physical limitations. I had 2 Parkinson's clients. One was double knee replacement. The other one was double hip replacements. Both of them Parkinson's, both of them with torn rotator cuff in the shoulder. I've worked with shoulder injuries. I had a client who was a post-rehab broken neck. We spent a whole year of working together, getting him really strong before he had to go in and have a rod put in his spine at the age of 40 after a severe accident. I worked with people with back injuries, people with hip injuries, feet injuries, all kinds of different things. And so I learned a lot about working with clients who had limitations. And then I that client.
And then you got your own limitations, and isn't that what a gift,
Yeah.
that you can now turn around? Because I am hoping that this video will not only serve my clientele and your clientele, but it will reach out to those women who have horses and they used to ride,
Yeah.
and either because they got too heavy or they got injured or whatever sidelined them, they often find their way to me because I master in groundwork and then up into the saddle. For me, groundwork is the foundation. And there's a lot of women out there who are not riding their horses either because physically they don't feel strong enough to do it, or they've been injured and they're afraid they're going to get hurt if they get back in the saddle, or they've lost their confidence, or they feel they're too old. And it seems to me like your program could help these women find their way from the ground back up into the saddle through the whole personal growth, the whole wellness, because you're not just working on the physical wellness, you're working on mind, body, spirit, and emotion. That in my program we are a whole being, and it's all 4 of those, and all 4 of those have to be healthy. And what I love about your program is that that's what you're focusing on, is the whole being. It's almost, to me, I do holistic horsemanship because
Mhm.
it's the whole being, and what you're doing is a holistic program.
Yes.
One size fits none, because we are all whole beings and each of our whole being operates differently.
Exactly. And no diet fits one person and no exercise program fits one person. We're all in need of something different. So Whole30 might work for, a lot of people, but it might not work well for somebody else. Same with keto or the Mediterranean diet. So, and then not everybody loves to go to the gym and not everybody wants to be a runner or a cyclist or a swimmer. I can't stand swimming. I love to play in the water, but I would never have signed up for a triathlon because I don't like to swim.
So let me ask you, I think I'm going to ask you one more question before we get some shameless plugs here. I say I'm an equestrian owner,
Mhm.
middle-aged. I got some pounds to lose. but I'm not super fixated, but I know that my horse would probably be happier and
Uh-huh.
healthier. You know, he'd probably have a healthier spine if I would get a healthier body weight,
Uh-huh.
and stronger in my core so that I can be responsible at least for my body weight, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't have time or desire or money to go to
Mhm.
the gym. I'm not a gym person,
Mhm.
okay? Personally, I'm not a gym person. I have a gym
Mhm.
in my home, but I'm not a gym person. Can you help me figure out how to get more fit from the ground up with my horse?
Yes.
Like,
I don't see why I couldn't do that.
like I spend an hour and a half, 4 days a week with my horse,
Mhm.
and sometimes I ride, but sometimes I don't have the energy to ride. What could I do with my horse to nurture that relationship and be getting fit at the same time?
Well, you walk with your horse for one thing. If you've got an area where you can go walk, it's some place maybe where if you've got a horse like mine who wants to put his face in the grass all the time, that's a little bit more challenging. But in the outdoor arena and the indoor arena, I can walk, 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 walk with him. Now I can. I couldn't for the longest time. And now I can actually just start jogging alongside my horse too. So it's a light jog, but I can do that now. So there are ways to do that. And, if you're not interested in uh, doing the gym and let's say you just let your horse graze in the grass, it's not stopping you from doing some squats or maybe some push-ups against the arena wall or the outside of the arena building, or maybe a fence line, or maybe just start to hang on to the fence and do some lunges or something like that. If a person really wants to find their way back to health and wellness, they will do it. Bottom line, we have to have the desire to get ourselves back to health and wellness. It's like one of my clients, she is a horseback rider. She had 60 pounds that she wanted to lose. She was afraid to get on her horse because of weight, and then because she'd had a hip replacement. And one of the things that we worked on is getting her back to doing her PT exercises because she'd stopped doing them, and then her hip started to hurt again, which then affected her back. And so she realized it's like, okay, this is a lifelong commitment. I have to make this lifelong commitment to myself, or I'm not going to get back on my horse. What do I want more? Do I want to ride my horse, or do I want to sit here in misery and berate myself constantly for not being able to get on my horse?
Right,
So which one's we have to really understand what it is that we want and then be willing to take the action steps to get it.
right.
And when I spent almost a whole year of not riding my horse, and the day that I chose to get back on him, there was nobody at the barn. I was all by myself. And I got on him. We started to walk around the arena, and he's kind of giving me a little fuss. And we spent a lot of time together, with me sitting in his stall or me out in his pasture with him, reading a book with a big old hat on to cover up my bald head. But there was no groundwork. I couldn't get in the arena and do groundwork because my knee would just buckle underneath me. And I had somebody working with him for a while, but financially going through cancer treatment, that just dissipated too. But what I found is I get on him, we're going around, and I'm like, the fear is just like, I'm like, okay, I can do this. One of the biggest fears I had was, what if my knee hits the wall?
Mm.
I'm going around the ring and my knee hits the wall. It's still not completely recovered with 2 stress fractures in it. And then he starts tossing his head, and I'm like, come on, Cody, you can do this. I can do this. You can do this. And it took a little while, and he finally settled in, and he's like, okay, I gotcha. And we had maybe a 15-minute ride, and then I'm like, okay, I'm getting off. And we just kept building and building from there. And now my knee is doing better and I can do groundwork. So we do a lot of it these days.
So, what I think my takeaway from that is you have to decide that
Mm-hmm.
you want to feel good
Mhm.
from the inside out.
Yeah.
And then you have to make the commitment
Mhm.
to reach out to somebody like you and
Mhm.
say, hey, I want help. And your program, your online program, gives you not only you and your course, but it also gives you a group of others going through it together. And then you just have to show up.
Mhm.
You just have to keep putting that one foot in front of the other. And you should know this. I kind of sometimes forget, but how many days in a row do you have to do something before it actually starts to become a habit?
Well, they used to say 21 days. And you probably could find some blog posts and some other things saying 21 days. But in all reality, you're looking at 3 months to really create some new habits. And that's why my program is 12 weeks long. The first time I did this program, I ran it as a beta test, and I had 6 women absolutely free. They didn't pay a dime except for their time to be in the program. And it was 6 weeks. It was too much packed into 6 weeks. And yes, there were results. They got a lot of results out of it. And every one of them said, I really wish that we could have done this longer, because I felt like I needed either more support or I needed more guidance. I needed more time with my buddies on the calls. I needed more. And so what I did is I created the 12 weeks. I spread things out a little bit more so that there wasn't as much overwhelm, because I put a lot on their plates
Right.
right from the beginning to those 6 weeks. So some of it got spread out a little bit, so it's not quite so overwhelming. But there still is some overwhelm, because changing is overwhelming. It's not easy to go through changes in our lives. Most of us don't want to change, because we do, but we don't. There's this barrier, that status quo, that, okay, nothing's wrong in my life, everything's great, I don't need to change anything. But on the other side of it is people will feel better, they look better, they're overall just healthier. One of my recent clients, because my program just ended a couple weeks ago, this last session, and she sent me a text one day. I pop open my phone and I'm like, I couldn't do this without you. And I replied back, that's not true. I got to be the person who helped you on your journey, because you're the one who did all the hard work.
Right. We're
So,
creatures of comfort. And so
oh yeah,
change is very, very hard. But once you start taking those steps towards change,
it's easier.
it's way worth it. But I personally, not only in my life, but in my clients' lives, um, we have to get to a point of being really uncomfortable
Some people do.
before we're willing to make that change. But
Yeah.
once we make the change, it's certainly well worth it. And we're able, it almost opens up this whole new world
Yeah.
for us to be able to experience more joy.
Mhm. And that's ultimately what I want my participants to feel, is their life is happy, they're joyful. They can look in the mirror, and instead of seeing somebody that they're uncomfortable, they're overwhelmed, they're ashamed, they're tired, they see this person that lights their light up. They look in the mirror and there's light. There's a softness about them. There's glow. There's just, yeah.
So your program is creating change from the inside out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Vonnie, how would somebody get a hold of you to find out more about your program and how to get enrolled and just to learn more about you?
Yeah. So the website is VonieKalich.com, and that's V as in Victor, ONIE KALICH. So just one N in Vonnie. And then I have a Facebook page, Vonie Kalich Coaching, and I have a Facebook group called Whole Woman Warrior. And then if you do come into the program, the private Facebook page is One Size Fits None. And then you can find my program under workshops on my website. I also have, if you're not, you're not sure and you wanted to do a survey, I have a survey that's available if somebody wanted to email me at Vonie at voniekalich.com, so they could email me that way. So a lot of that to get a hold of me.
What if I wanted to just kind of have like a one-on-one conversation with you? Is there a way that I can set up some kind of a just, hey, I'm not sure, but
Yep.
maybe you're the one for me?
Yep. So you can go to my website and there's a link on there to schedule a call. So it'll take them to an online scheduler. And then from there, they pick a time and a day that works for them. And if they don't find something that works, just to email me and we'll find something that works beneficially for both of us. And it's a free 30-minute consultation. Yeah.
Now, I don't like to be pressured into things. And
Nope.
so, one of my reasons that I'm growing my business slowly is because I am not going to be the salesperson that I'm going to avoid.
Exactly. I understand.
I kind of want to talk to you, but I don't want to talk to you if you're going to spend 30 minutes trying to convince me to join your program.
So what I want to do is I want to hear their story.
Okay.
What is their story? And then go from there. And if it's a fit, great. Maybe I'm not the person, maybe my program's not the program, but it gives them an opportunity to explore whether it would be. And so I know high pressure sales. I'm one of those people. It's like I sign up for something, it's like I want this download. And then I get an email every single day and I'm like, swipe, swipe, delete, delete, delete. And so I email people once a week in my blog posts. And sometimes it's every couple of weeks. And so there's not going to be a lot of pressure that way. And when I do talk to somebody in person, I am not putting on the high pressure sales because that drives me nuts. And when somebody starts to do that, I tune out myself, just like you. Or I say, well, you know what? I really need to think about leaving right now. I'll talk to you later.
Right.
So, or whatever, I come up with something to say.
Perfect. Nice. Well, you know what, Vonie, thank you so much for taking this time and letting me interview you. It's been really fun and informative. And I love the fact that I actually have someone I can refer my equestrian clients to that are looking to possibly lose those extra pounds for whatever reason they've gained them, or to get a healthier mindset and to get more physically fit so that they can enjoy their horses to the full extent that they can do. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you, because this was fun. I enjoyed chatting with you about it.
Very good. Great. And so everybody, if you find value in this video, please subscribe to my YouTube station, get on Vonie's, check out her Pilates and her core strengthening things, and get on her website. And at the very least, if you're curious and you want to know more about her, book that discovery call with her. Yeah. And we appreciate you tuning in, and be well.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.